Hello, Fáilte. This is Lora O'Brien from the Ogham Academy and the Irish Pagan School. And I got a question in which kind of stumped me, but it is actually a common question that comes up. So, how would you write my name in Ogham is a very standard question that comes up, and it's probably put into the search engines and all the rest of it. So, how would you write my name in Ogham? But this particular question was, how would you write my name in Ogham when there is no J or A in the Ogham language? And I just wanted to address that a little bit because I've seen it coming up. I was asked it directly, but I've also seen it coming up in other places. The J, particularly, obviously, a lot of people have J in their name and they want to translate their name into Ogham or their children's names into Ogham or their partner's name into Ogham. Sometimes that's about getting tattoos and all of that is well and good, right? I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But the fundamental misunderstanding that people have is that Ogham is not based around the English language. Shock, horror. So, Ogham is not a language in its own right, for a start. Ogham is an alphabet or a writing system, and it was developed to express the sounds of primitive Irish. So the Irish language has gone through multiple phases of development, and academically, how we would work that would be we would look at primitive Irish from probably the 300s to the 500s Common Era, maybe before, right? But that's when we can kind of definitively date it from around the 300s. The language itself, sorry, the Ogham, we can definitively date to that, in that the Ogham as an expression of primitive Irish. Primitive Irish probably is older than that, and probably goes back, definitely goes back, has its roots in Proto Indo European. Um, so the linguistic history is quite complex, but for our purposes with the Ogham, we're dealing with primitive Irish, which again, for the Ogham context, was around the 300s to the 500s Common Era. Then we saw development with Archaic or Early Old Irish in around the 600s. So that's about the 7th century Common Era, or AD as it's sometimes called. So that's the kind of time period we're dealing with Archaic or Early Old Irish. And then what we know as Old Irish would have developed around the 7 to 800s initially. And then it moved from Old into Middle Irish into Modern Irish to a certain extent, early Modern Irish, and then it was standardized sometime around, I believe, the 1960s. We got kind of the standard. I'm quite on a figule, sorry, the standardized Irish that is taught now in schools and that. Okay, so the development of the Irish language has been quite significant over time, as any language develops. English has developed in similar ways, but the Ogham itself, as I said, was created to express the Irish language. So that's why there's no J, because we don't have a J in the Irish language. Shock, I know. When you are transliterating, because you can't translate because it's not a language, but if you want to know how would you write my name in Ogham, what you need to do is translate your name into Irish and then transliterate those Irish letters into the Ogham writing system. And that goes for names, it goes for words, it goes for phrases, sentences, all the rest of it. It has to be done through Irish. So you don't have to learn Irish, you don't have to know how to speak Irish. There are websites, and I'm going to be doing some blog posts at the Ogham Academy, which give some of the standard stuff. I've done some videos at the Irish Pagan School and on this channel about Ogham magic and writing Ogham. So you can go and look. There is a whole Ogham playlist on this channel, and go and check that out after. But what you could also do is go to ogham.academy/guide and download a free guide, which gives a little bit about a history of the Ogham, a little bit about a timeline, just one page. And then there are 2 pages of printable sheets, so you can keep it on your computer and just have it as a reference guide. You can print it out and stick it to your wall. You can just use it as a reference guide for once you have a name that is in Irish, and you can Google that, how to translate English names into Irish. There are definitely websites for that. Or generally, what happens is you need the closest Irish version of an English name because they don't always directly translate. Okay, but again, there are websites for all that. Once you have the names in Irish, then you can go ahead and transliterate that into Ogham. So that's where the Ogham guide will come in useful for you. There is no J. There are a couple of other letters that we don't have in the Irish language, which you could come into sticking points if you're trying to translate directly from English into Ogham. Okay. And there is an A, by the way. I don't know where that came from. That was part of the question. There's no J or A in the Irish language. There is. There's a whole ACMA or group of letters which deals with the vowels. So there is actually A in the Irish language, but there's no J. So hopefully that's been useful to you. That guide will be very useful to you if you're looking to translate anything into Irish and then write it out in Ogham, because again, Ogham is a writing system. Okay, so slán check out ogham.academy/guide, links below. Make sure that you get correct information, especially if you're going to be putting it on a tattoo. Please, please, please. Okay, slán. See you in the next video.